Hey, what's going on? Who we got in here with us? Dun, dun, dun. 22 days out. Let me delete that. $6 a day. Okay, so for whoever's with us, if you could let me know. Hey, how you doing, Reg? I think you're new to our coffee and stock sessions. I'm not sure. Haven't had a chance to talk to you before, but if you would like to review a stock while we're on here, I'm waiting for everybody to get back on. We had to reconvene our session this morning. Um, so if you want to review a stock while we had the time together, I'm more than happy to do so. That's what we'll be doing. Let me get my chat set up. If you don't mind giving me a second. And then got you. Okay. I think I've seen you before. I saw you join us before. That's what I mean by that. Got you. We can definitely look over some potential opportunities coming out of what's going on in the markets right now. Um, be more than happy to review some potential trades with you. Let's see. So let me track. Yeah, I'm on. All right. 3 weeks, 500. Okay. Is that what you started with? Was your $500 account, or is that have you built it up to that? And also, I'd like to add, I'm not sure if you've been following the coffee and stock sessions here at Millennial Investments, but we're currently watching Bitcoin for the simple fact that the rest of the market is dependent upon it because I'm not sure if you were in this morning's previous session, but Tesla made a $1.5 billion investment in Bitcoin, and how's it going? ZOM will go under. I think it will go under there. We can look. But back to what I was speaking to. Tesla made that $1.4 billion investment in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's weighing down on Tesla, which is why we saw Tesla hit 620, which is weighing down on the SPY. The SPY coming down caused a lot of panic selling. People thought that the correction everybody's been waiting for and that's been looming was going into play. So a lot of people panic sold yesterday. Of course, you saw that you got stopped out. Do I see ZOM going under $2? Based on current momentum, I see this breaking above the 212 levels that we identified. TYT. And finding that support again. But that could also, just to be aware. Okay, got you. Thank you for letting me know that. I'll also want you to be aware, TYT, that this 212 level can become a level of resistance. But current momentum is showing that we might break above those levels. That's on the 1 hour. We can look at it on the 10-minute and see a little bit better how it's reacting to those 212s. You see how we're having a lot of this churn right here. Currently showing some slight pullback on the 10-minute. I would look forward for this to, on the 5-minute, it's showing some upward trend, potential upward trend. Although the MACD is still red, you can see that it's alluding to breaking through those 212 levels. Current plays that I got in play right now, I put a put option on AMC, a call option on SNDL, and a call option on DPW. I think the DPW was a bad call option, honestly, just to be, disclose that. For the simple fact that Bitcoin is showing potential reversal and DPW plays alongside Bitcoin's price action. I did do further out. I think it's I have 23 days on the contract with DPW. I have 331 days on my Sandal or SNDL calls and 23 days on my AMC calls, or puts. Of course, AMC is a bunch of hopes and wishes, in my opinion. As I said earlier, I don't think it's going to go too far. I would like to see what the short interest on it is overall, because that's played a large part in how the short squeeze movement occurred and everything to that nature. So let's see what we have. Float short. Let's see. All. Remember how I pulled this up here. Get situated here. Right, I caught the BTC spot. Alright, cool. I'm glad you were able to catch that. I just want to make sure that everybody is basically up to date as much as possible, so they understand how we're looking at these trades and going into all of this. What was it? How do I add the... I can't remember how to even freaking add this thing. Performance, maybe? Or technicals. Where's my short float? Why does it not let me add that in there? Technical. Give me a second. I'm trying to see something with AMC. Floats short. Anyways, I'm not going to harp on that too much. I don't think AMC is going to do too much. Honestly, personally, if it does, well, cool. I'll lose a little bit on it, on my put option. But I think it's coming back down to retest those 653 levels. It did find support on the 713. And that's why it bounced back up to the 748. A lot of people have high hopes and making some money back on it. So, but I just don't think that it's going to work out. It is trading pre-pandemic levels currently, showing some momentum to the upside. Could compress. Could have went the other, direction with it, but no, I just see this coming back down to about $5-6. And I'm currently winning on my SNDL calls. Let's go ahead and have a look at BTC. It broke that support level that I identified earlier at the 49,194 levels, showing momentum to the downside based on the volume weighted MACD and the MACD itself. EMAs showing reversal back to the downside. We could hit this level and bounce right back off of it. But let's look at a lower time frame and just kind of pay attention to this, because it's ultimately going to affect the rest of the market. As you can see, the SPY pulled back and it's currently trading below that trend line, so we might be stuck in this channel that it was currently in before, which means we're at the high end of that. It's more likely that we would retest the bottom around the 380. And this could lead to my hypothesis that, or my thesis that the SPY could retrace to the 360 levels moving forward, but it looks like it is finding some support at those 386, 38 levels that I identified from pre-market, which is good. I think that was based off of pre-market Monday. Yep. And seeing if the SPY can stay above that, break this downward channel that is going in, and move back to the upside. Of course, we have those factors playing a part in weighing down on it. As you can see, Bitcoin's trying to reverse back to the upside here. I hope it does. I hope that it does, for the fact that I have options on DPW. And the simple fact that the overall market is dependent upon it based on my thesis. So as long as we see that upwards, then going to the upside, then we'll be okay. I honestly think that, and this is just speculation, but I'm almost pretty confident that Tesla captured those gains, and that's why we saw the stock drop $10,000. Not the stock, the coin. Excuse me. I'm looking to see. I can't remember how I had to do it to look for my shares, my short interest on this. Can't remember, but I want to look at that on AMC. We can go through some of the stocks that we have on our coffee and stocks list. Some people are here simply to find new opportunities, which I don't blame them. We need to. And what I'll do is I'll pull up my list here and kind of scan the market to see what opportunities we have lying out there. 1 hour. Let's look at it from a 1 hour basis. Moving forward, as you can see, Bitcoin bouncing back up. Hopefully that level of resistance, that level of support doesn't reverse to a level of resistance and stay support. Strong signal going into the rest of the day. This came up on my charts yesterday, and I want to go ahead and look at it. It's already running. I don't get into stocks that are already running. I wait for pullbacks for entries, but I'm going to go ahead and identify some levels so that I'm prepared for that. Found resistance here, and that's why it's running higher at the 554 over the last few days, and it's currently trading above that about 20 cents. Doing pretty well this morning. Turn that red so we can identify it later. But I was hoping that this would come back down to the 350 area so I could find an entry into it. This is a low float stock, so it's easy to push prices like this to the upside. Right now I'm currently winning on my SNDL calls and down about 5% on DPW, actually down on AMC. But looking at ZOM, seems like we are having issues getting above that 212. I know that TYT was interested in that. So this could potentially, you have a 191 position at 222 shares. That's great. What you want to pay attention to in this stock is make sure we stay above this 194 support level. The stock was brought down below that pre-market due to what was happening in the overall markets, and broke all the way down to I think like 134. So I know a lot of people were not looking for positions in that in trades at that time frame, but what we did also, I know this is, let me kind of clear this up so we can actually see what we're looking at. What we also did with ZOM, and I wish I would have went into this a little bit more detail, is as soon as the stock went above 148, I would have looked for an entry around that time frame because it was previously a level of resistance. And then you could have caught it on its way back to 210, and you would have been up, 62%, or 62 cents, which is near 50% on the trade already. The fact that you caught it to the upside like that, that's kind of concerning with it finding issues breaking above that 212 previous support level, because that 212 could act as a level of resistance moving forward. I'm not saying that's going to be the case moving forward with ZOM. I know there's a lot of hype in it. I know a lot of people are pushing it, but I'm just basing it off of reality and how it's currently trading. Can be a great company and all. This is a great company, and it's currently trading back above those support levels. I'm glad it was able to break through. But moving forward with ZOM, just watch that 212. As you see, we're idling right around that level now. I'm gonna go ahead and do this so that we can see the momentum in it on the 1 minute real quick. Looks like we'll potentially bounce above it for sure. Let's see. So I think you're safe at the 191. Just make sure we don't break below the 194. I would allow that to be my stop loss. You'll still have a gain in it to some degree. That's about $30-$40 on trade, give or take. But that's just quick math too, by the way. But I'm currently scanning the markets to see if there's any opportunities we can find now. Reg, I know you're new to trading and you're not very fond of options. My current strategy with options is any stock that I want to hold a longer position on, I will do either an option put at its peak while it's retracing, in order to make money on the way down, and that money that I make on the way down, I put into the reversal back to the upside and let it sit. As long as it meets my price levels and price ranges, I'll let it sit for as long as it goes, until I see some strong reversals. AMC is really burning me right now. But you know, if you're looking for an entry into anything, it could potentially be the EV market or the Bitcoin plays. Reason being, I expect this to reverse and go back above it. It was currently oversold going into this morning, about 7 o'clock. And anytime something goes oversold, it typically hits that lower RSI level, bounces back up to the downside. Back to the downside, and then it reverses. So what we'll see is this battle to get back above that support level. And I said that earlier about Bitcoin. Be careful, because it seems like market open institutions come into play, and you'll see things like this occur. So where Bitcoin will pull back the way it has below that support level. So we have to stay above that support level moving forward. I'm going to reorganize my chart so I can bounce on these a little bit better. But if Tesla continues its reversal back to the upside from that 620 drop from yesterday, and is able to hold that momentum to the upside, then we could see some EV plays come into play here that we can find some great opportunities on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to zoom into that too much, but as you can see, we're seeing some strong momentum to the upside on the 15-minute, and that's a great indicator that some of our other EV plays can come into play here. And those would be, let me get them up here. Gtech is a good long-term growth stock that I would suggest. And then, of course, CCIV just had their merger with Lucid yesterday. The price action was decimated from the news being released. I did a video on that, I think Friday, and it dropped like that same day. It could have been Monday. It is Wednesday now, so I'm a little bit off with my days. BLNK is another good EV long-term growth stock. RMO has been very disappointing, and I don't think I'm going to suggest holding that too much longer. We can look at your NEOs, your NKO LAs. Workhorse dropped down heavily in pre-market after seeing news that USPS is currently allowing a bidding war on their EVs. You want to look at Apple? Sure. Apple currently showing downside trend on the 15-minute. EMA's attempt to cross over, go green again, but it wasn't able to hold. And it's currently retesting that 123 level I identified yesterday. I'm going to turn that a different color so we can keep that moving forward. It's a key level to pay attention to with Apple, is that 123.45. Make sure we stay above that. If we do not, then we can go in on the 4-hour and kind of level out some of our levels of resistance. I identified this level of resistance from back here in December. I'm going to pull some of this out here. And I'm just going to point out more areas of support where that price action actually correlated with it the most. And it looks like this 113 level was key. I think this was somewhere near the time that they did the split. As you can see, most of the price action was on that support level, so that's my next level to pay attention to if we go below that 123. It could bounce off of this. I'm not saying that it's not going to, but just make sure that we stay above those levels. If it does, then we're retesting the 138 moving forward. I'm going to make those my new lines for today, and as we go through these, we'll change them moving forward. So what's good price for Apple? Good price for Apple is waiting to see if we find a better entry in it. On the low end, 113 would be my good price for Apple. And that's based off of just where it's currently been trading since July 2020. This is a very strong support level, as you've seen. It's dipped down below it, but made its way back. So even if you see some retracement below it, you can expect it to bounce back. And of course, that comes with a lot of confirmation and stuff like that that will be needed. I will point out this area here, the 108 to 113, I would say would be a great opportunity to get into Apple. I'm not saying the stock is dying or anything just because I'm saying it's pulling back. I'm just saying to watch that level of support, which is currently breaking below as we're speaking. So, see, the SPY is pulling back a little bit. We're trading in this trend. This is something to pay attention to moving forward to determine entries into other stocks. With it being on the lower end of this new trend line that is trading in, and I want to identify that trend, that channel. Oh, well, that's a little bit too far out for us, but let's see where we can get a good view on it. I think this actually got messed up on me because it's supposed to look something like this. Yeah. I'm gonna get rid of these because we broke these levels a long time ago. That was more intraday. This is a longer term level trend line that the SPY has been trading on ever since the crash and the rebound. So I'm gonna keep that there, but keep a close eye on the fact that I think we were trading back in this channel earlier. Yeah, we are now. So we could stick to this trend line, and I think I said earlier we could bounce up and down it on the way down. But hopefully what I'm looking for is finding that support on the 386.38 to break us out of this trend to the downside. Even if we were to churn sideways, that would bring some, solid opportunities to buy on the low end of this sideways channel into some of the stocks you're looking to make a position on. And of course AMC is running. It's at 777. I'm not going to focus on it too much. I know people are probably tired of talking about it. SPY just jumped back above those support levels, so maybe we'll be breaking out of this trend intraday. About 10 o'clock is where I'm going to pay attention to it the most. Bitcoin back above those key support levels that we identified. Trading back above its trend line, long-term trend line. Let's make sure it stays above there. Moving forward, it will not weigh down on the markets, and that'll allow the markets to pull back up themselves. Let's see, DPW should follow with that if you have any investments in DPW. DPW is a very diverse holding company. One of our members actually brought it to my attention. I've looked at it before, I just never actually went into depth until here recently. Actually a great company, a good time to buy in around these 454 levels. As you can see, it's jumped up to 797 before. Traded very well in these 638 to 698 levels. So if Bitcoin goes back to the $55,000 range, we can expect this to bounce back up to at least the 638. I've been identifying the 638 as a very key level. It's played very strong resistance and support. As you can see right here in these two trading sessions on the 18th and 19th. That's a good entry point for that, if I were to suggest anything. SNDL, being a weed play or a marijuana stock, has been very resilient in holding its support. Best stocks for long hold. Okay, so a lot of people were looking at things dealing in the stock market that were dealing with crypto. I have a concern with crypto, Bitcoin specifically, based off of what happened in the 2016 to 2017 era of Bitcoin, where we jumped to 20,000 and we retraced back to 5,000. That still is possible to occur and a concern, but the fact that there's more institutions interested in Bitcoin, such as your PayPal's, your Squares, Tesla pushing it with its own investment in there. A lot of people spitting out rumors about other larger institutions coming into play. The fact that crypto is now being basically, the fact that somebody made a good point. You can't go to a grocery store and buy groceries with Bitcoin. Well, you have to pay attention to things like crypto.com, which are creating debit cards that allow you to use and buy stuff with your coins in your typical general economy. such as going to the grocery store. So a lot of things going into play with Bitcoin. If we were to look at it, PayPal has always been a booming company, long-term stock. Look for great re-entries into it, being at these 261 levels I've been paying attention to. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my old drawings on it, and we can focus on the stock again to identify some potential entries into the stock, that being the 255 levels. Let's see if we pull back to those levels, and then our next level of resistance would be the 309 that we would look for. So if you were to get in at the 255, you would at least get a $50 return on the investment guaranteed, moving forward as we retest those 309 levels. And then even beyond that, I think once it retests 309, we can continue moving forward to the high side. As far as long-term plays, I am looking strong on EV for the next 4 years due to the administration's push on EVs, and that is one of my high focuses. One that I think is strong in that play, in that field, is Gtech. Gtech is something I've been talking about a lot here on this live stream, and Gtech is focused on industrial, commercial EV vehicles, more so of like your excavators and stuff like that. And construction is actually doing well even through the pandemic. It's held up pretty strong as an industry and sector. And as long as construction numbers continue to come out and play well for us, we can expect these construction industrial EVs to do the same. If you compare something like Gtech to, say, Caterpillar or what is it, Cadelico or something like that. Let me see. Let's look up Caterpillar just to look at its price. 222. Good growth stock if you're looking long holds. When you ask long hold, what are you talking about as far as are you looking at FANG type stocks? Are you looking at smaller stocks that can be held longer? Or can you define that a little bit more, long hold? Because the first question you asked me was Apple, and that's the direction I was going, is the longer term stocks. Looks like Neo actually reverted back below its $49.75 levels. I was actually looking at making calls on it. I'm glad I didn't. DBW is coming down for some reason. I don't know why. Bitcoin pulled back just a little bit. No, we're back above our support levels there. I don't understand what it's doing. DBW, why are we down? Is the entire market coming back down though? Yeah, SPY's back at 385. Tesla's back at 701. Yeah, so see, these are things that we have to be worried about. 4 years plus hold, cheap entry given these dips. Okay, so you don't have a particular share range that you're looking at, is what I'm assuming. Long-term hold, I like BLNK. I like FCell. Great entry point on FCell, $17 a share. Found strong support around the $15 price range before bouncing back up. Finding support right now above this 1702 level, and moving forward, I think we'll continue moving higher. This is a good play here. RMO is actually a commercial battery manufacturer, but like I said, it's been disappointing me. I've actually been looking. I pushed this trade around the 1859 levels, and I was looking forward to retest 24, and then of course Tesla pulled down the whole EV market. As long as Tesla is continuing to pull down the EV market, you should find great entries in any of those stocks to do your own research on. I wouldn't mind doing that with you here. If we were to look at some of that list, so some of those consist of course, that would make this. Of course, your Teslas, your Neos, SBE. is Switchback Energy Acquisition Corp. I want to add that to the list. Currently trading at $33. What I'll do is I'll put these in order based on. I was just looking at it, so current price a good entry. Yes, I believe so. I actually pushed an alert on FSL back when it was like $7-8 back in November, and it was like up 200-300%. Great stock, growth stock, long term. As long as the Biden administration is in office, you can expect that. A lot of people aren't too happy with the administration already for whatever reason they may have, but I think right now is a good level to get into this stock. Now, we have to consider what we discussed with the Bitcoin Tesla SPY theory. And of course, Bitcoin is idling around these $49,000 levels. The SPY is pulling back into its trend line that it's been trading in. So we could see the SPY pull back all the way to the 380 again. If it does that, you'll find better re-entries on the low side. And if you do, then we can compare that to how things performed yesterday, such as FSL, which I want to add to my list. Go ahead and pull that up there. And that will fall here. Gtech. I'm going to order these in the price ranges so we can go down the list. Plugs, another good one in the EV market, right? So the market itself isn't quite stable yet. Everything could still, yes. I actually think that the market's going to pull back to the 365 levels if there is a looming correction coming. And that's just based off my trend analysis. I'm looking at 663, 665. QS was a good play, but I'm not sure if it got weighed down too. I'm gonna add that to our list. And what I'll do is I'll have a separate EV list. And that was my strategy going into my thinking this morning is, honestly, I wish Tesla would personally pull their stake out of Bitcoin so that it doesn't affect the rest of the markets the way it has been and how it currently is. A lot of people might not agree with me on that, and that's fine. That's their own opinion, but that's just my personal opinion because it's causing issues the way it is. And that's not okay. Too much volatility. Too much, basically not being stable, like you said. So I'm just adding in some of these EV plays as we're looking at them and how they're performing. And they're all, I mean, you could honestly put a grid up and to confirm that. I think we have already. I'm not going to go into it now. I think GM's talking about coming out with like 34 different type of EV vehicles. So definitely something to look at with GM. Long-term hold. Alright, let's make sure. Alright, so let's look at them. Let's identify, even if you wanted to split your portfolio over, manufacturers, battery makers, charging stations, or we can go back a little bit. We can say consumer manufacturers, commercial manufacturers, battery makers, charging stations. I think overall, what's more important than the cards itself are the actual charging stations to support them. I haven't talked about PRVB. We can, but the charging stations and the batteries, those needing to be charged all the time and accounting for all the vehicles that are about to hit the market, and then of course battery replacements, lithium batteries to be specific. Let's look up some of our lithium battery stocks. And here are some of those players. So what I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to create a whole new playlist, a whole new watch list playlist. What am I talking about? 00 coffee and stocks. And we can look at PRV B too, because I actually alerted on that stock not too long ago. Had some faith in it too. So, but of course, just like everything else did yesterday, we saw some strong pullbacks everywhere. So we're going to add BTC only because of the fact that it's playing a part in all this now. Unfortunately, SPY, Tesla, Neo, NKLA. I'll even add Workhorse in here. Let's see, LAC, Lithium, ALB, PLL, NER, SQM, OROCF, which looks like it's a OTC stock. What is that? Lamaco Metals is another play, OTC stock. Plug, SL, RMO, Gtech, BLNK. Make sure I didn't miss anything. SBE, CCIV, 4GM, CCIV, SBE, Ford, GM. So this will be our EV play that we can review going. And I think these are the best longer. Thank you, appreciate that. I think these are our best long-term stocks. But before we get into that, he wanted to look at PRVB stock. I alerted on, broke its long-term trend line here, but found support on that level I identified before. Good signal there, good bullish signal that we can continue to the upside. Hopefully, if we don't break above that trend line right here, this green one, we'll at least trade against it on the bottom side of it and still continue moving higher. I actually had a 1919 level of resistance retest that I was shooting for in this stock, and if we were able to find support above it, then we would continue moving on. I think we can look further back, and I have some other levels already identified, specifically being the 2282. I think it's still a strong play. The fact that with yesterday's market pullback, it still stayed strong above those support levels we identified almost a week or two ago. So that's why we do our analysis the way we do, to identify our key levels of support and our price ranges that levels of support and resistance, and the price ranges that we're trading within, so we know how we can confirm how these stocks react to the market and the plays in the market. Gtech currently up 139 today, even with everything still going on. I should have not redone this that way, but let's pull this back up and kind of order this based on, I wish they would give me like horizontal separators in this. I don't know if they do that, but anyways, not to go too far into that. Does it? No, it does not. Anyways, so Tesla, let's see where we're at with Tesla, because that's going to make a difference here and us finding our entry points. So, and then the SPY overall, of course, man. Of course, I think PRVB is a strong company. I looked over their fundamentals. I looked into the research. I researched in their research and what they're trying to do there. I think it's a great play. Let's see. To add to that, perfect entry point if you haven't already made it in there right now. Unless, of course, the market pulls back. As you can see, the SPY is back up above the 786. So then I'm going to focus on our manufacturers, CCIV, LMR, Neo, and then Nikola, and then Gtech, and then I will do this based on price, so that we can just go down the list that way. BLNK, charging station plug, goes with SCM. You know what, to make this simple, I'll do it this way. There we go. Okay, so Bitcoin broke back below that support level. Another concern. I feel like we're gonna see this turn sideways all day. It's not something I look forward to doing, but it just is what it is. Actually, I don't think this is an actual chart that I've been using. for Bitcoin, is it? Let's go back over here to our previous chart. Coinbase. I've been using the Coinbase Bitcoin. Okay, that's the difference. Let me fix that real quick so that we can use our previous charting. Alright. There we go. So that'll bring in our levels. I'm currently trading below that support level, so it looks like it's starting to act as resistance versus support on us, and not okay with that. Once again, I'm worried about this potential pullback on Bitcoin like we saw before in 2016, 2017, and I think Tesla needs to remove his stake in that before we have some issues to the downside. Huh. Where'd you hear those rumors at? That's nice to hear. Might need to up my position in it myself with our Millennial Investments account. Most of the stuff that I'm sharing with you on our coffee and stock sessions is going to be my personal account, not my business account. Keep that in mind. So it's just what I'm doing personally. Late to the party. Good morning, Shad. What's going on? Glad to have you here. Any stocks you want to look at? We're looking for potential some potential plays going into the market's reactions from yesterday, where the current market is. Something I've been watching based on one of our members, Nick, in our chat group on Facebook. If you want to join our free chat group on Facebook, feel free to shoot me a friend request. You can find a link to the description for Millennial Investments, and send us a message on there. I'll add you on my personal profile in order to add you to our free chat group that we have. For any of you that are on Facebook, just check the description. Our Facebook page is there. Message us there. I'll add you to the group. You can talk with us more one-on-one outside of these video sessions. We will look at MKD here in a second. Something that hit our alert system was IVR. Currently retesting this 394 level. I did some analysis on it yesterday. It actually has not recovered fully from the pre-pandemic price levels. It's bounced up to the $8, currently retesting the 394, which has been a strong level of resistance on it. But to analyze this a little bit closer, let me bring it back in. Looking for this to potentially work on that $435 price level. And I want to see how that's... I've heard that from a stockbroker. Let's hope that it's true. Price target $21 USD, which is about the range that I was shooting for. $20 to $19 price range, as I said before. But with IVR, it's Invesco Mortgage Capital. Looking for it to retest the 487 based on this price action. I'm just going through and seeing how it's correlated with that over time. We can actually pull this down a little bit. Found some resistance at the 460. So before we retest the 487, we're going to retest the 460 first. If we find strong momentum to the upside, which you're going to see some upticks in these in the insurance industry due to what occurred in Texas with the and even here in Louisiana with the disaster and devastation that was caused by the snowstorm. So if we see this bounce above the 394, that's pretty much a green light, and not just bounce above it, but find confirmations and support above it to the upside. That's a green light to retest the 460. That'll provide you with I'm trying to do math in my head, and it's too early in the morning for all that. So I'll pull up my spreadsheet and get our correct percentages going for us. But that's what, 60 cents over $4, give or take 1/8. That's about 12.5 to 15% on the trade. Is what we can see there. Just off it retesting the 460. But if it goes to 487, then of course you're going to have much higher gains. I will do the specifics here based on those price points. 460, currently at 395. Let's see, this minus that and that divided by this. So potentially 23% swing trade there on IVR. If we break above that 395 up to that doesn't look right. Oh, 16 to 23% trade. full swing trade on that. So I might be pushing that here through the alert system, as we're expecting to see an uptick in insurance companies based on what's going on with Texas. I'm very reluctant to add like resistance levels on these strong breakouts, although it's not a bad idea to, pinpoint some of those. But I also want to see how it's correlated with the rest of the other stocks. AMC is actually burning me right now, being at $8. Psh, crazy. Don't believe in it. Don't believe it. But not right every time. Yeah, so good play here. I like the setup. I like looking at my stocks from the daily and then doing my checking out the momentum on it. Currently showing some strong upside to that 460 for sure. And then potentially the 487. MKD though, like the setup here. Looks like it's bouncing as we speak. Let's go ahead and do our key levels. One that sticks out to me the strongest is right here, 162. As you see, we found support there, so I'm expecting this to the upside moving forward. You can see another 40 cents or so on this. Looking at 222 and then 179, potentially a 25% swing trade on it as long as we keep the momentum going in that direction. And it looks like it was about to conduct an EMA crossover before it found support around these areas and bounced off of that. It really bounced off of this 146, which is our volume profile. It identifies where most of our trades were conducted, where the most transactions occurred. And I'm liking this setup. I really am. Looking back to see how that's correlated with previous price action is something I've always done. And also pulling back a little bit to identify some key levels here. What I will do is add this to our coffee and stocks overview page or watch list, and we can watch it moving forward along with IVR. Let's see what else we have. We have VN potential entry in this. See what our daily swing is looking like. 11.54 all the way to the upside of 13.34. It's about close to $2. Not too bad. 15 to 20% swing on it if it does perform appropriately. Let's go ahead and do some identifications. I'm going to start calling them identifications. So if you hear me say that, that's what I'm referring to. First and foremost, I want to see what my levels of resistance are, which are all the way at the 14.34. And we're going to turn those red, actually. We have a mid-level of resistance to pay attention to around the 13.18. That'll be orange because we need to break above that with some support right around... no, not there. Oh, well, actually, that was a previous level of resistance. That's a good level of support to base it off of. We're currently $1.54 above that. EMA showing green to the upside. It looked like it was getting rejected there around the 11.54, but found some strong intraday buying to bring it back to those levels and continue pushing forward. Potential, let's see what our swing on it is. 13.18 and 14.30 with the 11.54 entry. You're looking at anywhere from 14 to 23% swing on the trade as long as we find confirmations that we stay above the 11.54, finding support there moving forward. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Not too much more coming across my radar right now. I know a lot of people are like, how is that possible? There's always something moving in the market. I look for a certain set of criteria, a certain setup that I'm comfortable with. Potential, I wouldn't say re-entry, but another opportunity to enter into this trade. I pushed this last week. HRTG, Heritage Insurance Holdings, insurance company, bounced off the 909 very strongly for the third time since March, post-COVID levels here. Looking for this to retest that 1105, 10% swing around that area if you were to enter now, to retest the 1188. I expect to find resistance around that 1188 though, so don't expect too much out of it, but it'll still give you close to 18% swing on the trade. And that's what we look for, is 10 to 20% swings, and sometimes they perform much better than that, sit around the 50 to 60%. We average around 67 on our trades. A lot of our trades that we've pushed through Millennial Investments currently saw some backlash, I guess you can say, from the markets and what's been going on there. We're starting to see something though. Bitcoin's trading sideways, and I really want to track this theory because it can make a difference going forward. Bitcoin is trading sideways, trading below that long-term trend level, below that level of support that we identified earlier at the 449,194, making its way back to it, but still showing downward pressure, I would say, on the EMAs. But the SPY is reversing back to the upside on its own without it, but it's currently doing what we stated earlier. It's trading. Stop doing what you were doing. It's trading above this major trend line that it's been in for the past week or two, and in this new level of resistance at 388 that was established at the end of market close yesterday and retested in pre-market this morning. We weren't able to get above. We need to get above that to look forward to the markets really coming back up. Otherwise, we're going to constantly tap that line and then retest these lower price levels moving forward. And as you can see over time, we can look at that at a larger time frame, where that could potentially lead us going into March is down to those 368 levels, which is actually a key level of support if it even pulls back that far. I'm not saying that it will. I think it is, personally, but if we were to do trend analysis based on the last time to now, this is what we're looking like. So I'm going to turn that blue to kind of separate the two, and make it a little easier on the eyes. I don't understand why my colors are all messed up now. TradingView did some updates yesterday and it just looks weird. So as you can see, we are trading now, it seems like, within this, if you want to call it an ascending triangle to the upside. So there's a lot of different analysis we could base it off of, and it's just another subset of confirmations we can use to determine how it's going to continue moving forward. So something to keep in mind is tapping. If we are going to trade in these two green trend lines right here, the horizontal and this downward channel that it's been in, we want support above the 386, and if we don't, then we need to see if we find support right here on this blue trend line to the upside. If we see a breakdown below that, like somewhere in this area, then yes, I think we are going to retest these lower 368 levels. But going back to our EV plays and looking for opportunities in it while we await everywhere else, I want to see, I do want to take a little bit of time to see what AMC is doing, because it's burning me right now and I don't appreciate it. So 826 looks like it's still playing a level of resistance. Let's see if we break above it. Going into the day, that'll confirm some things. I said that it needed to get above 826 before we can move any further. If it does, I'm closing my put options on it. My SNDL calls are still working on my personal account. Up 3% on it, down 8% on DPW. Only down $10 on the call. And that's because Bitcoin's been trending sideways on us. And of course, AMC, I expected to go back to $6. If anything, $5.60. I just know a lot of people have a lot of high hopes in this, and the fact that it's breaking out, people are going to start freaking out. But I feel like it's going to be rejected once again. I haven't looked into anything regarding the company, at all. Of course, it's still on the top 20 trending stocks on Wall Street's bets. I feel like this is like a look to revive, you know, some of those losses that were taken in the whole AMC push. But I really want to see how it reacts to this 826. It'd be nice if I had some more buying power in my personal account to short it again. But you know, that's my personal. You don't necessarily have to follow that trend analysis on that. Yeah, as you can see, it zoomed out too far too quick. 826 played a key part, I think, somewhere right there. And the stock really needs to stay above it. As you can see, it's having issues doing so. Has strong momentum to the upside, so I'm not saying it's not going to. But just as hard as it went up, it can come down too. Something to keep in mind. So I'm not suggesting it to anyone as a buying opportunity right now or nothing like that. Pretty sure it's going to probably gap back down to around the 18 levels. Or it could continue running, one or the other. But I'm not going to. That's not what I'm looking for here. Bitcoin back above that support level. Looks like it's rounding off on the EMAs again. We need the confirmation that it goes all green here and breaks above this trend line. Otherwise, it's going to be trading sideways all the way over here. SPY going back to 388, making its way back there. I was proud to see the SPY perform the way it did yesterday and helping us identify a reversal in the markets. Tesla sitting at 715. QS is a good company, EV, to look at. Currently higher to get into right now. I would probably wait just a little bit. And of course, I'm only looking at this at the 1 hour while I'm saying that. So let me refrain from that type of judgment too early. But I was looking forward to stay above the 74.50s or retest them and break above it. It looks like we couldn't make it that high. And I'm trying to see. Excuse me. Oh, need some more coffee. Anyways, I'm trying to see why it's not doing so. I'm gonna readjust that based on its current resistance right here that we're seeing and moving forward. 6102 right now could bounce up to 71.95. It's $10 jump per share. With it being a higher stock price, brings down the buying power in the stock, depending on what your account's at, of course. But good support levels right there at the $40 price level, as you can see. Bent down a little bit below it. I'm going to put it there because it acted as support previously. Even though it bent down and below it, it bounced back above it. And once it did, it was able to break out back to those $71 levels. So key entry into this, if possible, on pullback would be anywhere between the 48. Our green zone is what I'll call it. Would be anywhere around these levels to feel safe. Not saying that it's necessarily even going to pull back to those levels, but of course it's an EV play. So if Tesla pulls back again, which I think the pullback on Tesla may be done. I hope it is, so that the rest of the EV market can perform accordingly. GM looking very strong. I think after they made their announcement on that 34 vehicle line of EVs coming out, GM's always been more accessible as far as buying vehicles for most consumers. So, of course, their vehicles are getting more and more expensive each year because they're becoming more and more computerized, so on and so forth. And especially with the EV market being as strong as it is, I can see them continuing to be a strong player moving forward. Something to look for long term. Of course, GM had those issues back in the day. I think they've recovered very well from it. As a company overall, you can look back over their monthly and just see what they've been through. I think GM actually changed their symbol back in 2010. Is why you're seeing the stock chart change here. I don't know why. I'm not gonna act like I do either. But support level, if you were to buy in long term, is to make sure that it never goes below the 46.71. You can play that, as you can see, that played a very key level all the way back to October 2017. But shorter term entries, see if we can find some. Anywhere between $46 and $48 would be great. 48 being a very strong level of support, but it looks like the stock is potentially rounding up on the daily. Let me reset my chart so we can actually see, and on the 1 hour. So we are seeing some top line resistance around this 57-cent level, or $57 level. So watch out for that moving forward as well. Neo, I've heard a lot of people ask me about Neo and what to expect. A lot of people don't understand what's going on with Neo, and of course, I think we've established here in Coffee at Stocks of what's holding it down. I was looking for Neo to retest the 49.75. It did break out above it, hit close to $51 yesterday, but as you can see, it's currently still playing as resistance for the stock at that $49.75 level, just to be clear, and pulling back. We established a new level of support around the 42.45 yesterday, based on yesterday's market pullback, but it's not showing strong trends to the upside. Plug 47.50, did a review on this last week. Was looking for it to retest at 60.04 levels. Stated that if it did not and retested the 49.75, that was going to cause new issues. Seeing the same issues here of getting above that 49.75 in pre-market, pulled back in market open, currently trading sideways right above that what is that, the 46.30 levels. Good entry there if it holds strong support there and Tesla doesn't continue pulling back. I think Tesla's going to trade sideways moving forward a little bit for some time, but I want it to stay above the current levels it's at, above 709.85, and I think we're safe. But Tesla moves $20 in 5 minutes sometimes, so watch out. We looked at QS already. BLNK, this is a charging station manufacturer. All these EV players are seeing the same trend, so we're going to play them the same way, you know, but just showing you your entry points in here. We can actually look at it from a fundamental standpoint too, to kind of use that as a comparison on long-term stocks. Beam Global. Let me get some info on Beam Global before I even open my mouth about it. Let me look at the analysis here. Provides products and technologies for waste recycling and waste treatment. Bioreactors. Oh, I like that. So this is like a Go Green company, I'm guessing. BEM, from what I'm reading. Ceramic production and sintering technology as the basis for recycling non-organic industrial waste. Yeah, I want to do some more DD on here. Mike, are you on here with us? Let me know if you're on, Mike. Of course, just like everything else yesterday, saw some strong pullback, recovered from it pretty well. Still has a gap back up to the $49 levels if it's even going to occur. Let's see how we're trading on the smaller time frames. Yeah, it's showing green. Be careful with me saying that though, because it did that yesterday as well, but still pulled back. All right, that was actually Friday. So let me look at it long term, see what it's looking like on the daily. Yeah, concerned with all this sell pressure past few days, and even all the way back to the end of last week. There were some pullbacks here regardless of what happened. Hey, can we do some research on BEM and put it in the DD database? But yeah, kind of concerned with the sell pressure that came going into last week. Let me see what the news on it is. I'm looking up the wrong company. I'm sorry. BEM. Fundamentally sound. 41% EPS growth year over year. Working to go green. It looks like it might take 2 more years before EPS does go green. Currently sitting at, well, at the end of 2019, it was sitting at negative 88 cents a share. 2020 hasn't been reported yet. But it is seeing some negative 24% net profit margins. This company is actually, it invents, designs, and manufactures solar products. Okay, so now we're looking at the solar industry. And let's see solar stocks. Let's see some of the other ones that are in play here and how they're currently reacting. I know solar got a bad rap based on what happened in Texas. Excuse me. And that's probably where this pullback's coming through. There's this large debate on whether Texas relied heavily on clean energy resources or, your natural gas sources and electricity as well. So, from what I understood, only 12% of Texas relies on clean energy, your windmills, your solar panels, and stuff like that, leaving the other 90% relying on your standard energy grid. And from the research I did on what happened in Texas, just from a personal view, being in Louisiana, Texas has their own power grid separate from the country, and that allows them not to be federally regulated, and that's why you see this swath of solar off-grid charter, several patents. Okay. We're gonna look into it a little bit more while we're sitting here, but anyways, back to Texas and what happened. They're not federally regulated, and so they didn't have to winterize their electrical grid, which caused it to fail terribly. But a lot of people are trying to use that as a platform to basically attack clean energy. A lot of people are already attacking it based on the oil industry and the jobs that would be cut. I don't think oil and gas is ever going anywhere, because you still got to consider what it takes to fuel America, essentially. Of course, we are going to EV vehicles. We are going to more solar and wind and stuff like that. But you got to think about it. You don't have EV oil tankers. You don't have. I know that Tesla and NKLA are coming out with electrical vehicles, but who's actually going to be able to buy an entire fleet of those all at one time? Like in 1 month from now type situation, or even 4 years from now. Like, these EV plays are long term, 5 years plus. 4 years being the first 4 years of these initial investments being strong because of the administration that's pushing them as hard as they are. So that's my outlook on it. The Republican Party has never been too fond of clean energy versus oil. Once the incident in Texas happened, they saw that as an opportunity to jump on AOC. This is probably backlash from that. Truth, as far as how that correlates with the market, of course, not to get political or anything like that with our conversation here. We're just focusing on what's happening in the markets. I'm looking at, while I'm sitting here, I'm looking at other stocks in this industry, and this is a short-term response for that. It's a solid company that will continue to follow its index. Speaking of that, that's what I'm sitting over here looking for, Mike. If you can, tell me who is the industry leader in solar. That way I can continue moving forward looking at some of these other plays, and we can come back to EM. EXC is some that I'm looking at. So, overall, though, let's go back to our EV market and see how we're responding to everything. See what's up, what's down. BLNK up 3%, leading the group. Gtech right behind it. PLL right behind it as well. Gtech I've been really pushing myself because I have strong faith in it. Low entry price point, allowing for higher share count for the longer term hold. Don't put more than you can allow to sit here for a long term hold. I know some of us are swing traders here, some of us are long term investors, but I think this is a great stock to enter into. Not the fact that I'm focused on it going to just $27. I'm actually focused on, $40 40, 50, $60 ranges on this long term. So I am actually putting all my profits that I make into it share by share. Ford, I don't, just because they came out with an electric Mustang, I don't really know what else they're doing outside of that. I don't honestly like Fords. I've had a Ford, don't like Fords. I'm a GM person. But to be unbiased about it and how well the stock is doing, like the company has really pushed higher. As you can see, we're once trading at the 940 levels and currently up $3. Larger company, market cap company, so market share, shares afloat is why the stock price is where it's at. I will justify the price action at that point. But to go back and identify our levels just so that we have them for future reference, it's always important to have. These are the price ranges that are currently sticking out to me. All right. LAC is about 1894. We're looking forward to keep strong support above that 1697. It currently being at 1894, $2 above that, and having the potential to retest the $25 price range right there. As you can see, it found resistance. Matter of fact, let's be a little bit more realistic and pinpoint it around the $24 price range. You're looking at a $6 jump over time, so not a bad place to enter into this now and continue to the upside as it's finding support above its previous support levels. So definitely a place to look for, something to look into. This is a lithium manufacturer. Once again, another battery manufacturer. Let's go ahead and go through and identify our levels here and see how it reacted to yesterday's price action. It pulled back strongly, showing some downward pressure to the downside, trading below that support level. I wish it would have stayed above. Let me see how it correlates. We can even bring that support level down just a little bit. I'm going to spread this out so we can kind of fine tune that properly. Most people would say that support's down here, and I wouldn't disagree with that. But what I'm trying to do is identify where the price action correlates with the strongest support levels, and that's what I want to depend my risk on. So actually at the 1747. Once again, all of these are in the same sector. It's just now what we can do is, this is what we'll do. We will go over these companies on a fundamental basis moving forward and do our research that way, to kind of better understand how these companies are performing individually and compare them to each other. And what I'll do is on the side, I will create a spreadsheet jotting down these notes that we're about to take once I can get this open. And we can really look into, what companies performing better, which ones have a better outlook moving forward, how are they managing their businesses. The better they're managing their businesses, the better returns we can get off of them long term. EPS growth, that's what I'm looking for. Strong signals in EPS growth and net profit margins. Overall, that's honestly what matters the most to me. Tesla pulling back, bounced off of that bottom 13 EMA on the 4 hour. Let me look a little bit closer. Showing some pullback there. Bitcoin's actually on its way up though. Well above $400 above that 49,194 level. And the SPY is at 387.50, give or take. And looks like it's pulling back as well. So I think it's just going to be a sideways trading day, and using yesterday as a prime example for identifying confidence in these stocks and how they reacted and then recovered as well. To kind of compare that to other stocks that you have positions in. I said that earlier this morning. I'm going to stick with that going forward. AMC going up. Am I going down because of it? Yeah, I'm currently down pretty hard on my AMC put options. I'm gonna let it sit. I'm gonna let it sit and run, and I don't assume this to bounce back in any form or fashion. I don't. Sorry. Let me scoot this over here. Or no, I'll keep it right here. And what we'll do is analyze the fundamentals, and I'll pull up my watch list over here. We can jump back and forth, of course, but let's go down the list. So, of course, everybody knows Tesla and its crazy performance, but let's focus on BLNK real quick. Look at some of the fundamentals. We'll do a quarter-over-quarter analysis to lead into our annual reports, and so QOQ EPS, QOQ net profit margin, year over year EPS, and then year over year NPM. All right, BLNK currently showing negative 14.26%, and then negative 54% net profit margins. But on an annual basis, it's doing very well. And actually, is anyone interested in doing this before I take the time to do it live with you? Or would you prefer me do this on the side and then bring it to your attention tomorrow or something? I don't want to waste anybody's time or feel like they're wasting time sitting here. I want to focus on what you guys want to focus on. If you'll drop it in chat, let me know. EV plays Gtech. $142.37. Not even reporting on yearly for some reason. Ooh, that quarterly looking terrible though, but I feel like it's gonna be all right. 49. All right. Let's see, PLL. Not even showing fundamentals for it. I can find it elsewhere though. F. $183 or $184.99. And then $182.01. Oh, that's negative too, by the way. Oh. No, why are you doing that? While y'all are waiting on me too, by the way, I'm just here to learn, so whatever you want to do is cool with me. Cool. Glad to know that. So basically what we're doing is we're looking at the fundamentals of all the companies we have on our EV watch list. We're going to create a spreadsheet here in a second and basically compare those. I might do that on the side because I don't want you to just have to sit here. And I also want to give everybody an update. If you're new to the live stream or have been here, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share as well, so we can invite other members in here to discuss these trades with us. And that also gives support to the channel and what we're trying to do here. But what I think we're going to do is a schedule change again with now that we're out of this snowstorm. Last week I had all the time in the world to sit here and talk to you about trades all day because we were snowed in. But what I think we'll do is from 7:30 till about 8 o'clock, we'll do a 30-minute pre-market session. And then from 8:30 to 9, we'll do a market open session. And you know, we can go into the market as long as we want to from that point. And then probably take a break around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And then probably do a market close session to kind of wrap up how trades performed and reacted and news that came out, and we can discuss news on trades, more DD that me and Michael are able to conduct within that time frame, so we can add that to the stocks as we're going through them and things of that nature. So what do you guys think about that as well? If you'll give me your feedback on that while I kind of continue pushing forward on what I'm doing in the meantime, because I think I'm going to need to take a break here for a second for my own good. And recap my brain with some more coffee as I'm just getting into today. So let me know what you guys think about that and that type of setup moving forward. I know some people work. I know some people aren't here that would love to be. LAC doesn't even have fundamentals, so we're going to have to look for that information. LTHM, negative 157, 152.39, negative 120.48, quarter over quarter. Negative 980.10. All right. LTHM. Oh wait, that was LTHM. And then PLG. In between me doing this as well, what I'll do is take the time to go back and make sure we're staying up to date on what the markets are doing overall. Get an overall view of watching all this play out today. Like I said, I kind of feel like it's going to be a sideways day for the most part. I just went up 15% on my S&D L calls on my personal account. DPW up 2% after being down, I think, 12% at its low. So it's probably reacting to the Bitcoin, finding that support at those levels and pushing to the upside. Currently down pretty hard on the AMC calls I made, but as you can see, it's having issues staying above 826 if you're following it at all on your own. It did bounce up to like 840 a minute ago, I saw. Year, and then 20. But I should like play some music in the background while I'm doing this type of stuff for y'all. That way it's not so quiet and boring. What do you guys think about that? Somebody told me that my music was annoying one time. I was like, okay. Anyways, let's look at this. So, simple comparison here real quick. Let me get this out of the way. And I'll show you why I've been pushing Gtech so hard. So far, just looking at the first 5 that I've done so far, is the year-over-year EPS is far more better than these other stocks that we just recently added to the list. Second to BLNK. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to gauge this smallest to largest, largest to smallest. So it's backwards. Actually, let me see what that looks like. BLNK being number 1. Gtech, even though it's 4th on the list, is still doing better EPS wise. So let's reverse that actually. Let's do, because what I'm trying to identify is what's doing better year over year, long-term investments, right? And then from there, what is currently showing signs of continued growth on a quarter-to-quarter basis. And that's where our list comes into play. BLNK first, Gtech, and then Plug, of course. And we'll keep adding to this list as we're waiting for the markets to decide what it's going to do moving forward. How do we get in the private chat talk group again with you? You will find our Shad, I think you're on Facebook already. I can actually, you can find our description on in the you can find our link for the Facebook page in the description of this right now. And go to our page, send us a message there, and I will connect with you directly with my personal page from that point, send you a friend request over, and add you to the group. Yeah, I see Reg is on there. I seen he hit us up. Let's see who else. All right. But this is what I'm gonna do. Do you guys understand what we're looking for here? Bitcoin's jumping heavy to the upside after finding that support off of the 49,194. Let's see how we react to these levels moving forward. As you can see, the Q resistance levels stand out pretty well. It's trading back above that long-term trend line, and I feel like it's going to compress in this ascending triangle until it breaks out back above the 51.45, or it could find strong resistance at those levels and pull back. The fact that it's pulling up as strong as it is, you can see Tesla is following, so our thesis is currently working based on Tesla following Bitcoin and the SPY following Tesla, as SPY is now above 388 as well. This should allow all the EV plays that we've been looking for to start to see some action to the upside. And I'm going to try to keep some of this stuff kind of separated, as in vehicle manufacturers versus battery manufacturers versus charging stations. So let me try to do my best in doing that real quick. And we can kind of see how some of those are performing. Of course, Workhorse is down because they're potentially using their USPS contract with the United States Postal Service. I am. I'm about to hop off though for a second and take a break. Oh, here. I'm sitting here telling you how to find us. I can just do this. I forgot I can talk to you guys directly. Here's my personal page. Send me a friend request. Here. Well, is it going to add it? No. There you go. Send me a friend request here. And we'll connect. What I'll do is I'll go through today and look at these EV plays from a fundamental standpoint. Get some of those numbers together, and we can see where the most value stands. Solar is seen as tech innovation, so we're looking at tech leaders like Apple as a stock index for them. Gotcha. That makes sense. And Apple's actually pulling down, I think. So what I think I'm going to need to do is make a separate watch list for that specifically, and we can go through the list and keep them separate since they are considered separate industries. I mean, of course, I guess the EV plays would be a subsector to the tech innovation industry. So, but that's how we'll do it. I'm going to take a break, guys, and recap. Get some of this spreadsheet done for us. Once I get that spreadsheet, we will probably reconvene closer to the end of the market close. I can have that information for you today. I'll also have some trades that we push out through the system. If you're interested, be sure to register your free membership at Millennial Investments by clicking the link in the description. We have free and premium memberships. If you want all of our trades or just some of them, it's up to you. We also have a trade tracker for you to track your trades, and we have a due diligence database that is completely free for everyone to collaborate and provide information for. But I will be pushing some trade alerts here and doing some trade reviews on some of the trades we have open. I need to allocate some time out of my day to do that, which is why I need to hop off of here for a little bit. I'm glad you all were able to join us this morning once again. For everybody that did come back for yet another coffee and stock session at Millennial Investments. We look forward to doing this at 7:30 moving forward Central Time to 8 o'clock. 30-minute window pre-market to kind of get a recap on what's happening in the overall market and potential plays going into the day at that point, and then seeing how the market opens, reacts, finding more investment opportunities within that reaction, and then we can sit there for an allotted amount of time before reconvening closer to market close, potentially around the 2:30 Central Time time frame, leading up to 3 o'clock, which is when the markets close here. Leading over, we can have that time to see how the stocks performed and if they made our confirmations we needed to, if they hit our entries, or if they created new entry points for us. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and take a break, get that information together for you, do some more work on the side, We're currently building our mobile app, so that's another large task I have in my day. I need to, allocate time for. Keep an eye on that if you're a member of the community already. That includes the Investors Talk community, Discord, and Facebook groups. But other than that, I want to thank you all for being here. I hope that us doing this is helping you understand a little bit more of how we're angling the market and how we're reacting to it ourselves and what's going on in the markets. As you can see, Bitcoin just dropped a little bit below that $50,000 mark. I'm hoping to find some support above it, especially above that 51,000 mark we found earlier. Tesla pulling back because of its SPY pulling back as well. AMC still currently sitting above 826, around 836. I'm watching it only because I have my put options on it. But that's about the most attention it'll get from me. I should have never even gotten to this trade. I don't like this stock. But anyways, moving forward, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching, participating, giving us feedback. If you have any better ideas on more things you want to talk about, feel free to let us know. We are looking to put together an option trading tutorial. I will be working with Mike. I will be working with Dylan and Norrock on that. Putting together a beginner's guide here at Millennial Investments that will collaborate with Investors Talk and their team on putting together some material that we make on how we're tackling options and utilizing them with different strategies, of course, each is own when it comes to investors. So other than that, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us for this morning's coffee and stock sessions. I actually need more coffee after this morning and got some stuff to do. But all right, guys, thank you all. Be sure to share, like, subscribe, the whole routine. I appreciate it for showing you your support. But otherwise, have a good day. Good luck trading. Be smart. Make sure you identify your key levels before getting into these